Today, let's get to listen to stories of triumph amidst failures, courage despite fear, strength through weakness, and even the occasional hopeful cheer from personal punny experiences. I am your host, RKaye, and this is the BetterU podcast. What is up, fam? Welcome to another episode of the BetterU podcast. Coach RKaye here, and thank you so much for joining me in today's show. Now, for the past weeks, we have been doing our best to answer some of the most frequently asked questions or some of the many issues and problems that we often face when we start off our fitness journey. And today is no different. We will again be answering another inquiry, another question that most often if in case we do not directly ask it, it's probably something that we've kind of thought to ourselves that is it something that can actually make a difference when it comes to our health and fitness and our wellness as well, especially again when we're beginning our journey, or if not directly starting from scratch, if we're somebody trying to get back into the swing of things. All right. And for today's episode, we will be talking about some of the different issues that we should be able to also give focus on, not just training. So what are the other important aspects of beginning a fitness journey, not just the training aspect of it? So I will be giving you 3 of the main factors, we could call it that will enable us to really pursue our fitness journey a lot better. And if this is something that you get to skip on, well, today I guess you will be able to finally recognize or include it in your own fitness journey. All right, so again, there's 3 that I will mention today. The first one, definitely, I believe, is something that a lot of people do consider to be part of their ongoing change when it comes to their health and fitness, and it is what you eat or what you drink. Now, of course, many people get a little turned off when we mention the term diet, all right? And it is quite in tandem with training or starting off becoming a bit more physically active, right? So, of course, in tandem or to go with exercising more, you would like to also make sure that you take note of whatever it is that you eat and drink as well, okay? So for starters, of course, a common misconception is when somebody has to go through a fitness journey, a common misconception is that you either, one, eat a lot less than you would actually need to consume. All right. So a lot of people do calorie deficit. That is, of course, something that is definitely helpful, especially in the first few weeks, the first few months that you're beginning your changes in your fitness routine. But most of the time, what happens is that people get into the swing of things or begin by exercising a lot and eating too less than is expected of them. And of course, this is something that would commonly happen, especially if you're somebody who wants things to happen a lot quicker. All right. Of course, that will definitely help you out if you, let's say, as an example, let's say that your common or start off calorie intake is between 3,000 calories, and then you manage to slash off half of it. So from 3,000 calories, you go down to 1,500 calories. Of course, that will make such a big difference. But what I want you to take note of here is, of course, like training or like getting into more physical activity, it will take some time to adapt and adjust. I am not saying that immediately you need to slash off all that calories. Um, it's always the safest bet to gradually reduce your calorie intake. Again, that is just something that I have experienced and that some of my own clients have experienced as well. I don't really believe in such a thing as a crash diet because oftentimes what happens is, of course, as I mentioned, it will be something that will definitely help you out. Especially if your main goal, your main concern is to lose a lot of weight, it will happen very, very quickly if you go through a very drastic drop in calories. But at the same time as well, we also talk about longevity. So it's not just you trying to train um, for a longer period of time. It's also you trying to learn how to eat better for a longer duration of time, okay? Because oftentimes what happens is if you cut your calories fairly quickly, what happens is you get to um get through the point where you sort of think about food. That's all you think about. And this is coming from my own experience as well. You know, when you tell yourself, I can't eat this, I can only eat this type of food group, and you cut out an entire food group as well, okay? And I am mentioning like a lot of people who are so scared of consuming carbohydrate. Okay, I think that's probably carbohydrates are probably one of the worst um, food groups that many people try to shun away, and I think that is unfair for the carbohydrates out there. All right, but yeah, like I did mention, of course, if you want to cut off calories, please be very wise about it, be very smart about it. Not to the point where you try to, really again cut off certain food groups or certain types of food. Um, Oftentimes what happens is you tend to focus more on the food that you're missing out on. All right. So what happens is instead of you getting to eat correctly or getting to eat what makes you happy, all right, what happens is you start to hate the routine of having to and not deal with carbohydrates or sweets or salty food or things of that nature. Okay, so it's the most common concept is you should hate food or there is such a thing as a bad food when in fact like training, it is something that would always depend again on your own lifestyle, on how you currently are health wise. So it is always best to, again, if you cannot research about it or know about it more through your own research, you can definitely go to a professional and consult with somebody who knows a lot more about it than you would. All right. So again, number one for today is ensuring that you eat and drink as well. So it's the same for drinking particular beverages. All right. Of course, we want to increase water intake a lot. But of course, not to the point where you're drinking gallons and gallons of water. That's not good either. All right. So making sure to drink lots of water, trying to, of course, also reduce beverages that are very high in sugar. And yeah, those are some of the many steps, the many tips that a lot of us can look into with our very own fitness journey. All right, so that's number one. The second thing that I believe a lot of people also should look into, but perhaps they overlook, would be rest and recuperation, especially sleep. All right, because a lot of people who get into the rhythm of being able to train more. Okay, if you do get to train a lot more, you do get to eat a lot better, eat and drink a lot better. The next best thing to also consider changing up in your own lifestyle is having enough time to rest, recuperate, especially get time to sleep. All right. A lot of people don't look through too much in this factor. Probably because not a lot of people, at least from my perspective, I don't believe a lot of fitness professionals do get the opportunity to talk about sleeping more, resting more. You know, it's always, I think the issue here is a lot more personal trainers and coaches really talk more about, you know, pushing yourself to the limit and not really considering the benefits of being able to rest properly and to have the better quality of sleep. All right, not just ensuring that you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep in a day, it's getting the quality of sleep. All right, and of course, again, also included with this factor is the issue that a lot of people, again, of course, when you push yourself to the limit, you don't necessarily want to stop, quote unquote. Not many people appreciate the fact that when you rest, it is also very beneficial to your body, and that when you overtrain pretty much, because that's what happens if you don't really give importance to rest and recuperation. What happens is you just train and train and train and train, and your body pretty much gets exhausted, and you pretty much go through the phase of overtraining. And what happens then is your body finds it harder to recuperate. Your muscles don't get to facilitate better changes in your body. And so what happens ultimately in the end, you just throw in the towel and you don't want to train anymore because you're just sick and tired of it. All right. So that's also one of the issues that many of us need to always consider when it comes to changing up our health and fitness journey. We should always consider having time to rest, having time to recuperate, and looking into better quality of sleep. I could probably go through a lot more detail when it comes to having better quality sleep and how we can actually have that. But again, also consider or also look into it with your own journey. You have to ensure that it's not just you sleeping those 8 hours. It's making sure that within those 8 hours, the sleep that you had was something that was not interrupted. It's not very shallow sleep. It's actually sleep that is considered deep sleep, because during that period of time, it is when your body is really able to um, help keep up your cells in regenerating and making sure that the muscles are recovering as well. All right. So that's number two. For today, another issue that I would like to also make you guys look into or consider or think about more when you're starting off or changing up your fitness routine is also how you not just prepare your body physically, you should also consider your mind as well as how you feel while you are engaging in better health and fitness or improving on your fitness journey. Not a lot of people get to incorporate or consider or include in their fitness journey how they think, how they feel. Oftentimes, it is just brushed aside and it is not really considered to be an issue or a factor that would, make or break the fitness journey. So again, do consider also thinking about how you feel for the day. Let's say, am I feeling 100% today? Am I able to, withstand having to go through a training session and push myself to the limit? Or do I feel like my training session will be affected a lot because my mind isn't in the right place right now? So yeah, that's actually something that you should be considering when you engage in training. All right, because again, if you can, some people, they have that ability to really just focus on what they're trying to do, or really give time to look at what they're doing currently. But there are also some people who tend to feel very overwhelmed, and whatever it is that they're doing for that day, they cannot really push back what it is that is affecting them, whether it's about work or family or friends and everything else in between. they can't really push that aside and then go and train. All right. So if you're that type of person, you may want to consider ensuring that you get your head space into what you need to do regarding your health and fitness. All right. So again, I should be able to also aside from sleep, I should be able to also consider another episode, and we can talk about this in more detail. But again, do also consider if you are getting into your health and fitness, if you're pushing to begin your health and fitness journey, also ensure that you're in the right headspace, you're feeling good about yourself, you're not doing it because of the wrong reasons as well. All right. So that's also why it is great to ensure that when you start off your fitness journey, you have set goals. And the number one thing that you should always ask yourself is, why am I even doing this? Because that is always a great anchor for you to look back into when you are feeling a bit exhausted, you're feeling tired, you're feeling like you just want to give up and throw in the towel. All right. So that in and of itself is also a big part of your mindset and your emotional state when you start off your fitness journey, and try your best to continue through your training regimen and your training routine. All right, guys. So again, in today's show, I hope that you were able to get to look into your own fitness journey. Is there or are there some parts of it that relate to today's show and some of the different issues that you need to focus on as well with your own fitness routine or your own fitness journey? All right. So, guys, that is it for today's show, and I do hope that you were able to pick up um a few tips here and there that could definitely help you with your own current situation, with your own current programming and routine as well. So again, thank you so much for joining me in today's episode, everybody. And if you've seen previous episodes and shows, but you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do click that subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot when you subscribe. And if you find that today's show was very helpful to you, or if you feel that somebody else can actually benefit from today's show, please don't hesitate to like and share today's video with everybody. All right. And in case you have questions, comments, or other concerns, please leave those below. And you never know, I may be able to answer your questions, your inquiries in a different episode. All right, guys. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. Coach RKaye here. Of course, reminding you always to never give up on your movement journey, because it's never too late to move. Bye-bye, guys. See you again.